because there's an Elm Street in every town. Welcome to the first day of Freddy Krueger month, or as I like to call them, the 13 days of Nightmare, because I've still got 7 more reviews to do and 5 music videos. Thus, 13. So, we're off to the races, because I've got to make 8 reviews and 5 music videos in 28 days. And if I have time, and I get a few more comments than usual, I'll throw in an extra Robert Englund movie. Possibly. I really have no idea how I'm really going to do the movie justice, but I'm going to give it my best shot. So, the movie begins with a man in a workshop. He is making a glove with knives coming out of it like long fingernails. And he immediately jumps to this scared teenage girl running around in a boiler room from something that's chasing her. After that, we meet the main character, Nancy, and her group of friends, who all had dreams the previous night of a man with a burnt face and blades for fingernails. After he kills a few of them in their sleep, Nancy finds out that the guy's name is Freddy Krueger. That's when her mother tells her that Freddy Krueger has been dead for over 10 years. Turns out he was a child murderer who was cleared on a technicality. So all the parents of Elm Street got together and killed him by burning down the old abandoned boiler room where he made his lair. She tells her parents that he's come back in their dreams, but no one believes her because how in the fuck can a killer come into your dream and kill you? Except for her boyfriend, he believes her. He tells her about dream skills. All she has to do, he says, is tell herself he's not real. Kind of like the end of Labyrinth. You know, you have no power over me. So, she goes in to face Freddy alone, with no one for backup and none of her friends left alive to help her. And the characters are actually really, really good characters. There's Nancy Thompson, who was played by Heather Langenkamp, the Virgin character. The survivor girl of the series, really, because she's in like 3 of them. Very well played, nothing real exceptional, but still more than competent. She actually beat out 200 actors including Jennifer Grey, Demi Moore, and Courtney Cox. So there must have been something that Wes saw in her. Wes Craven, I mean. And Glenn, Nancy's boyfriend. Nancy's boyfriend, played by none other than Johnny fucking Depp. Yes, this is Johnny Depp's first film role. He really shows a lot of potential, but he was nowhere near the actor he is today. And Lieutenant Donald Thompson, played by John Saxon, an actor from the B-movie Old School. Anyone who has worked with Roger Corman more than once, to me, is from the B-movie Old School. He does a great job here. He's one of those guys who gets bit parts in everything, especially any B horror movie. So you recognize him, but you have no idea who he is. He's a detective for... well, the city isn't named in this particular entry, but it's Springwood. So... oh shit, I almost forgot about Freddy himself. How the hell did that slip my mind? In this movie, he is just an insane child killer who is punished by the parents of Elm Street and burnt to death. He comes back somehow to seek revenge on the parents of Elm Street by killing their children once more. Every minute Freddy on screen, he just takes over the scene. His design is just so awesome and frightening at the same time. I honestly believe that he's not only the best slasher monster of all time, but he's also the most fleshed out and scary as well. Hear me out. All the other slasher monsters or characters are supernatural, unstoppable beasts. No real strategy or planning at all. They just come at you with whatever weapon they prefer. Not Freddy. Freddy can only come at you in your dreams, which is not only cool, but he's coming at you when you're the most vulnerable. And unlike most slashers, well, most of them, Freddy has a face, a voice, and what I think is most important, a dark personality. He loves killing the teenagers of Elm Street. He's a sick and twisted lunatic who cannot be killed. And the lunatic part is what really terrifies you. I mean, are you more afraid of a random guy stalking you slowly with a knife, or are you more afraid of some guy grabbing you in an alley and doing horrible things to you? Me, I'm more afraid of the psychopathic serial killer grabbing me in the dark alley. Also, if it weren't for Robert Englund, Mark Hamill wouldn't be Luke Skywalker. He tried out for the role and fell flat, so he told his buddy Mark to go out and give it a try. Imagine a world where the guy who played Freddy Krueger, Robert Englund, is Luke Skywalker. I think it's a kind of fun idea. And the acting is really good in this movie, too. I won't say fantastic because there are some actors in it that I was kind of meh on. But all the primary characters do a very good job. It's really worth seeing if you want to see what Johnny Depp was like when he was young. You stupid, stupid Pirates of the Caribbean fans. And Robert Englund is the perfect guy for Freddy Krueger. He's kind of small, but that's another one of those things that really makes you afraid of him. He's just a normal guy in size. Makes him more real. And anything that makes a horror movie more real always serves to make it scarier. The directing is probably the best part of the movie. I really think that under anyone other than Wes Craven, the performances and the shots wouldn't have been nearly as good. Wes Craven is really like a prodigy of horror. If I ever wrote myself a horror script, he would be the guy I'd want to direct. He would do the best job with my mental vision of the story. Maybe I'm biased, but I really think the dude's got some talent. The cinematography in the film is probably the third best I've ever seen in a horror movie. I know the first best in my opinion is The Shining, but I'll save that for another review. The angles are really, really good. And the music, at least the theme music and the score for this film, is simply awesome. Especially the main theme. Possibly one of the most recognized in horror movie history behind the Halloween score and maybe the Jason noise. Other than the score, all the other scenes in the film are very stark in their absence of music. After watching it, I was really struck with a sense of what I had been missing with horror movies, especially slasher movies. It's so well put together that I actually saw horror movies as a legitimate genre of film. Before I saw this film, I thought of horror movies as like this ghetto form of film, and I just didn't watch them. And this movie really legitimized them for me in my mind. So, if you got a friend who's not into horror, or like horror's crap, make them watch the first Nightmare on Elm Street movie. It will make them think differently. At least it did for me. It really established a new type of slasher, and as the film that started the series, I really have to love it. The most classic film in the series, really, because it's older. But still, a must-watch for any horror fan or film buff. That's how I went into it. I love films, and as such, was looking to diversify my catalog of movies. A true great way drug into good horror movies. So for that, I'm going to give it a 9.5 out of 10. It's really that awesome. I'll see you all in part 2. Freddy's Revenge. Till next time, everyone.